had to go to the doctor to get this form filled out that said that I was licensed in New York. So it was like my New York license something, and the doctor has to sign it because I was trying to get this job. It was like a cosmetology lab job in New Jersey that I was trying to go for, and you needed to get this signed. So I went to the doctor. I'm like, I just need you to sign this, saying that I'm all good. And he's like, yeah, I'd love to do like a little test, some testing on you. I'm like, why? Like, I don't have much time. I want to go. He's like, let me just take this quick test. He's like, because honestly, you don't look well. And I'm like, no, I feel fine. He takes a blood test. He comes back and he's like, we're going to do it again because it can't possibly be right. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? He's like, we're just going to do it again. So draws blood again. Comes back with like nurses, and he's like, we're calling an ambulance. You have to go to the hospital right now. You have a third of the blood you should have in your body. It's like you just got into a car accident.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to It Takes a Village. I am so happy to have you here. Thank you for returning. Thank you for starting new. If this is your first episode, welcome. This show is a show that connects self-growth with the power of community. I'm your host, Delina, and today we are speaking with Naeemah LaFond. Naima has been a friend of mine for some time. She's been somebody that I have admired for a while. Her and I share a mentor, and our mentor is Crystal Wright. She is also on an episode that I recorded in the first season of this podcast. If you want to check out the Crystal Wright episode, you totally should. Naima is somebody who I admire. She is very soft-spoken, but at the same time is an incredibly bold advocate of Black people, Black culture, textured hair. She created something really cool. It's called Texture Onset, and it is an industry event that has been taking place in New York for the past couple years, and it is so cool. It brought together, I invite you to go look at the photos and videos of it. It brought together so many really cool top of the world professionals, including herself, of course, that do hair all over the world. I mean, you had Rihanna's hairstylist, you had Tyra Banks' hairstylist, you had Vanessa Williams' hairstylist, you had Tracee Ellis Ross' hairstylist, it was every single textured hairstyle that you have ever loved. The sculptors of that were all brought together that came and attended. She had incredible panels. I love Naima, and in fact, she was on an episode of It Takes a Village pod that we did in person. The first live event I ever hosted was in New York City, and it was a couple years ago, and I asked her to be part of a panel, and she said yes, and she came in and she shared everything, and this was pre her launch of Texture Onset. So much has changed since then. She has become even more bold and taking up space and just like living and loving the world and being so incredible, and she is a real rock star when it comes to texture and when it comes to doing hair and making it look beautiful and editorial and elegant. And she's won a lot of awards. 2024 North American Hairstylist Awards, the NAHA Awards, if you know about it, you know about it, where she has been nominated and won the Editorial Hairstylist of the Year. She creates runway looks, she creates global ad campaigns, and she's somebody who understands how to communicate how to do hair. So not only is she doing it, she knows how to teach it. And she currently holds the global brand ambassadorship for Olaplex, which is one of my favorite brands, something that I use very often. And I'm excited. I'm excited for you to meet her. I'm excited for you to understand who she is. She is represented by the Wall Group, which is one of the most sought after artist representation agencies in the industry. And in this episode, we're going to talk about her activism, her work in 2020 when she released a guide. We get more into that, but it was a very big deal that was covered by a lot of publications, including Allure and many others. Her creation of a mentorship program. So if you are looking for a mentor, which is actually why I reached out to Naima to begin with, if you're looking for a mentor trying to understand how to build community, she is a master at that. And we haven't really had a community-focused episode, and I was like, this is the one. So she has a mentorship program called Black Onset, and she talks more about how to get into that and why she created it and how it organically came to be. She also talks about her health scare that led to an emergency blood transfusion and how meeting her husband really changed her life. And it was so important for me as a first-generation African American living in the States. She's Caribbean American. She talks about, being first gen and what that's like and how to really sit in your softness. It's such a beautiful conversation. I really hope you love and enjoy it. Please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Sign up for the newsletter at ittakesavillagepod.com and share this episode with a friend. If it resonates with you, if you love it, it means the world to me when you organically share it on social media or, privately in your group chats. All right, with that, let's get into this episode. Naima!
We're here.
We're here. Welcome to It Takes a Village.
Thank you.
So, okay, we had you on the only live event for It Takes a Village was in 2023. It was with Black Beauty Club with Tommy. And it was in New York City. We did it at Ludlow House. Yes. And it was so fun. And you said yes. It was like very...
It was amazing. I don't say yes to many people for things like that.
Uh-huh.
When it comes to conversations. But I just love how you speak to things. I love how you converse. So I was like, yes, yes, and yes.
It was amazing. I feel like it was one of those things where, so we share a mentor, Crystal, right?
Shout out to Crystal.
Shout out to Crystal. And Crystal was like really influential in my career as like a young person moving to New York, trying to figure it all out. And I feel like she started to introduce me to people. And while I didn't personally know you, I always knew about you because she would always talk. Yeah, she would always talk about you. She'd be like, Naima? Oh no, you need to know Naima. Like Naima is about her life.
She's amazing.
Yeah, and I remember actually specifically during the pandemic, she was like, Naima's really helping me with my social media. She was like, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do, like, because it was like.
Yeah, I'm like, I know you're always one telling me what to do, but I hope you don't mind.
Yeah, I hope you don't mind. I'm actually going to help you with this. And no, it was really sweet. I was like, when I heard her say that, I was like, oh, she's my kind of person.
Oh, thank you.
Because, I think a lot of people get motivated to do things based on like a monetary, like, oh, you're going to get something like monetary wise, or you're going to get something, some kind of recognition. Right. But you were doing that quietly. Like nobody probably would even know unless I brought it up right now that you were doing that, And so like, I was like, oh, I like her.
I mean, I think that's just us as beauty creatives anyway. You don't really get into this business.
Yeah.
Maybe nowadays, but back when we started, you didn't get into it to get rich.
No.
Make a lot of money.
That is a really good point. You didn't, because you also didn't know where your career was going to go.
It was a shot in the dark.
It was a shot in the dark. Like this idea of like celebrity artist was so few and far between.
Absolutely.
Okay, so take me back to like the very beginning. Like I want to know your first like moment that you were like, oh, I like hair.
Okay, so, the first moment, oh, I like hair moment.
Yeah.
That I can remember was back in a hair salon in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. My mom was getting her hair done. The old school 80s roller set.
Yeah.
And she was getting the hair, like it was like the roller set. They were taking the rollers out, and then the hairstylist goes to like run a brush through it. And it took my breath away. I was like, I can't believe like that, all those curls turned into that with the brush. Like it was just like something that just like pulled at my heart, and that I like paid attention to. Like, wow, why did you feel a way about that?
Wait, how old are you? You were like aware?
Yeah, I was like maybe like 6, 7. Yeah.
Oh, you're so self-aware. At 6, you were like, why did I feel like that?
Yeah.
I like that.
So then I started to doing all of that on my Barbies.
Okay.
I turned into like a Barbie hairstylist, like all the updos, all the things. I think I had about 20-something Barbies. I collected Barbies.
Wow.
So anytime someone wanted to buy me a gift, I was like, Barbie, Barbie, Barbie.
Mm-hmm.
And in Haiti, my dad was also like, I had Barbies at his house.
Yeah.
So I had like my Barbie collection in Haiti and a Barbie collection at home.
I love that.
And just doing all kinds of hair. I was like making outfits for them. Before there was like Fenty X, there was Naeemah LaFond making lingerie in her basement.
You're like, Rihanna was inspired by me. So, okay, being Haitian.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that. Like growing up, like how much time did you spend in Haiti?
I spent summers in Haiti. So my dad lived in Haiti. So every summer, my brother and I would go to Haiti and spend the summer there.
Yeah.
So I was half the time in East Flatbush, Brooklyn. And in the summertime, I was in Haiti.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like two separate lives for sure. Growing up, my mom didn't have a lot. We lived in a 1-bedroom apartment, and it was 6 of us.
Wow.
Yeah. But in Haiti, my dad was doing well. He had a restaurant and maids, butlers, like there was like a garden guy. Like each child had their own maid. It was that kind of vibe. So it's like you go away for the summer, you're like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah.
And you come home, my mom's like, yeah, go do the dishes.
You're like, wait a minute. Did you ever protest and be like, I want to stay in Haiti? Like, why are you sending me back to Brooklyn?
No, because I was like obsessed with my mom. Like I loved my mom so much.
Okay.
I always wanted to be near her.
Okay.
My brother, on the other hand, wanted to be near my dad. So we differed in that, where as much fun as it was, like the beaches were beautiful and like living the life. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to go back to my mom now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that. It's so important to have, like, I have a really close relationship with my mom too.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I don't know, there's something about that. Like I am blessed to have that because I know that not everybody has that.
Right.
And it's like such a special thing. I think to me, I feel like when you have a good relationship with like the matriarch or the woman in your life, I feel like makes it easier for you to make friends with women. For you to be a girl's girl.
Absolutely. I think it also helped me make mistakes in a more graceful way because I had her to talk to about them and her to like just love me through all of the ups and downs. I think that's also really impactful to have just someone that's in your corner, that's a woman that gets all the things from relationships to career things that you can give her like the real.
Yeah.
And she'll give it right back to you and you know it's coming back from a place of love.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Are you close with your siblings?
Half of them, yes, half no. Because I think I grew up kind of like being the mom.
Okay.
I'm first gen, eldest daughter. So there was like a lot of responsibilities put on me. So I think my younger brothers probably look at me more like a mother figure than like a sister. Like I was just like years ago, I went to go follow my brother on Facebook and he wouldn't like accept my follow.
Really?
Like, don't follow me. And I'm like, what?
He's like, I don't need you to see what I'm up to, Naima. He's like, I'm up to stuff. Don't be telling mom.
Yeah, so I essentially helped raise them. I
Yeah.
really did. I'm the one that was like talking to teachers sometimes. And, you know, like when they were not doing the right things, I'm the one calling them like, hey, you know, you should, from college, like, mom told me you did X, Y, Z and you should be doing this. And so it was like I was the mother. So I don't have that. I do have a closer relationship with my brother that lives in Haiti.
Okay.
Because we didn't grow up in the same household. So I wasn't his mom.
Right. He's like, okay, I see you as my sister.
Yeah. So we're actually probably the closest of all my brothers, even though he's the furthest away.
Yeah.
He's also an artist. He's a photographer. Yeah. A lot of my brothers are into art, but he's like deeply into photography and we talk about that a lot. Sometimes we work together. So it's really cool.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Okay, so meeting your husband, I'm thinking about, you're like, I'm first gen, eldest daughter, and then you feel safe enough to be with a man. What should you be looking for? I'm an eldest daughter too. So I'm like, what are you looking for? Like, why was he the one? Because I think you talk about him all the time online, about how much of a great partner he is. Like, what was it?
I think for me, it was the fact that he was so gentle with me, but he was also like the masculine energy that I need, like a man's man.
Okay.
He was able to balance both, where he didn't feel threatened by anything that I was doing. He was like always like my biggest cheerleader, even just like in the first conversation. It's just the gentleness for my emotions or any stories that I told him about my life was there from like the beginning. And I was just like, wow, like this is a guy.
Yeah, you're like, that's it. Like
That's
I
my
like
guy.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah. They say like when you know. Like do you feel that way? Like did you feel like, okay, I know this is my person? Did you?
Oh, absolutely.
What does that feel like?
Well,
because I don't know that feeling.
We got
yet,
set
Naima.
up by friends. We got set up by friends. A friend of mine and a friend of his set us up. And she did that because she's like, you know, if you don't complain to me about guys ever again if you don't go out with Claudie.
Okay.
Because I told her, I was like, I don't think he's like my type because he's like he's very outgoing. He's very much a people person. And that's just not me. Although my career says otherwise, but me in like just normal social settings, I'm more like the quiet type, the kicking back and, watching. And I'd seen him in social settings at her house, and he's like the center of attention. He's like the one telling the great stories. And I was just like, oh, he's doing too much. And she's like, but you got to go on a date with him. Yeah. I'm overstimulated, all the things.
Yeah.
So she's like, just go out on one date. Okay. He came to pick me up. And at the time, I lived downstairs from my mom.
Yeah.
And she calls me and she's like, there's this guy outside with flowers saying that he's here to pick you up on a date. I was like, ugh. And he brought flowers. Like,
wait, you were like,
yeah. I was like,
okay.
I was determined for it to not go well. Like in my head, I'm
you
like,
had made up your mind.
I had made up my mind. Like I always dated the low key guy, the nonchalant guy, and he was all the chalants. Like
too many chalants.
Yeah. So he showed up with a big bouquet of flowers, and I was just like, here he goes.
Yeah.
Went on the first date, and I was just like locked in. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm talking to my husband. That's exactly what I said to myself in my head. Like I'm talking to my husband, because it felt so different than anything else that I had experienced. We went out to dinner. He took me to dinner, and we were done maybe by like 9:10, and we didn't want to stop talking to each other. So he found a 24-hour diner, and we sat there till like 5 o'clock in the morning, drinking espresso and talking. We've been together ever since.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's blossomed into, like, I feel like he's so actively like supporting you.
Absolutely.
What do you say when it comes to like support? What does that look like? Especially, specifically in your relationship, like how do you feel supported by him in what you do as well?
I think it was important for me to be with a man whose ego doesn't come into play when it comes to my career, because I'm doing a lot of traveling.
Yeah.
I go to a lot of industry events, and he's very much like, where are you going? You need me to like help you iron your dress? Like,
oh, I love that.
You're going to Paris. Make sure you take a picture of this for me. Like, go take a picture in front of this. I want to see how happy you are. Mm-hmm. That's his energy always. And I think that's what I needed in order to flourish in a career with someone. Because I'm either doing it by myself or I'm doing it with someone like him. Yeah. Like, that's the only energy that could thrive with the career that I had in mind for myself.
Yeah. Would you say that your career was like slow burn?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah? Because you've been doing this for a minute.
Yes.
You know?
Since 2003.
Okay. Starting in 2003, do you feel, were there moments of this like impatience within it? Like, did you feel like you're like, oh man, I'm so good. Like, why don't people see it? Or like, were there any of those types of things that you had to work through as an artist?
No, because every time I felt like it wasn't working for me, I moved on to something else.
Tell me more.
So, for example, I helped start a brand called Blow the New York Blow Dry Bar back in 2008. And I started by like teaching internationally. I was in Denmark and Norway, helping to launch the brand.
This was Blow Pro?
Yeah, Blow Pro.
Okay, got it.
And from that point, it was just blowouts. Like, that's what you're teaching. And I felt just kind of like uninspired. I just felt like I had more to offer. It was leading in a great place, but I creatively was not inspired. Where people are like, oh my God, you get to go here and you get to go there. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not really happy. Mm-hmm. And I got into this industry to do something that I was happy doing. So every time I came to a point where it didn't feel, that joy wasn't there, I always feel like I have to make a move. Because that's why I'm here. I'm here for the creative freedom. I'm here for the joy. I'm here for the satisfaction of that artistry, of that expression of artistry. And if that's not happening, we have to make some moves. So I told my husband at the time, I'm like, and we were poor. We were not doing well just yet. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm going to quit my job. Give me like 2 months to find a new job. In the meantime, you have to like carry all the bills. I can't do it. I can't help in any way. Just give me 2 months. So I quit that job. And in 2 months, I was just trying to figure out what it is that I wanted to do with myself. Like, I knew now that I had this education background where I was traveling internationally to teach, but do I want to do more with that? Like, what does that look like? I tried to apply to other brands and they didn't know who I was, so that wasn't catching on. then I went on Craigslist, and there was an article or an ad for education manager for this small brand that no one knew about, which is called Amika. And I was like, I'm going to go try and get this job here. This sounds like all the things that I know how to do from my last job.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they might have low expectations because they're just starting out themselves.
They might be like, she's amazing. We really need her. Yes.
So I think I can do this.
Yes.
So I went in for the job, and I got it. I mean, not right away. There's like a long story to that. Like I got sick in the middle. I had to have like a whole blood transfusion.
Wait, no, slow down. You got to tell us the whole story.
I had to tell the whole story.
Yeah, you have to tell the whole story.
So I went in for the first interview.
Okay.
And that went great. They had me do like a hairstyle in front of like a boardroom of people and talk about the product while I did the style. So like if you were at a launch, like how would you speak to this product while you did some hair? And I did that. They're like, great, we want you back for a second interview. I'm like, awesome. But in that time, that year, I just felt low energy, but in my head, I'm like, you're just hustling,
tired.
you're tired because you're doing a lot.
Yeah.
And
totally
not really,
normal. I feel like that's like a totally normal thing. Is like blow it off because it's like, I'm an entrepreneur.
Right.
Suck it up. Just go do my thing.
Just do your thing.
Right.
And I remember I was still job hunting, so I had to go to the doctor to get this form filled out that said that I was licensed in New York. So it was like my New York license something, and the doctor has to sign it because I was trying to get this job. It was like a cosmetology lab job in New Jersey that I was trying to go for, and you needed to get this signed. So I went to the doctor. I'm like, I just need you to sign this, saying that I'm all good. And he's like, yeah, I'd love to do like a little test, some testing on you. I'm like, why? Like, I don't have much time. I want to go. He's like, let me just take this quick test. He's like, because honestly, you don't look well. And I'm like, no, I feel fine. He takes a blood test. He comes back and he's like, we're going to do it again because it can't possibly be right. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? He's like, we're just going to do it again. So draws blood again. Comes back with like nurses, and he's like, we're calling an ambulance. You have to go to the hospital right now. You have a third of the blood you should have in your body. It's like you just got into a car accident.
Oh,
yeah.
My God.
Yeah. I'm like, what? He's like, your blood count is so low. Straight to the emergency room, blood transfusion. And honestly, within an hour, I was like, oh, this is what it feels like to be alive. Like, I feel like I didn't realize I was sick until I was well.
That's wild.
It was crazy.
That is so crazy.
So that all stems from me having PCOS.
Okay.
So I have PCOS, and in order to like get your period, I don't know if this is like okay for this podcast.
No, go for it. We talk about menstruation.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So in order to like, so you have like these irregular periods, and in order to like kickstart your period, let's say you haven't had it in 6 months, they give you this medication to get it going.
Okay.
And it got my period going, but I bled for like 30 days.
Oh, wow.
And then from then on continued to have periods month after month. So I was like already in a deficit.
Got it.
And then every month having these like super heavy periods. Yeah.
So the medication was doing this?
The medication was doing this. And the doctors were like, no, it's all normal. And I'm like, I feel like I'm hemorrhaging sitting on the toilet. And they're like, no, it's fine. It's normal.
That's wild.
Next thing you know, I'm in an emergency room getting a blood transfusion.
That is so wild. I'm so happy you caught it.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's the craziest thing.
Yeah.
That doctor who sent me to the emergency room, after I got out and decided to like go back to him and thank him for like stopping me dead in my tracks, I learned that he had passed.
No.
Yeah. Dr. Goldberg saved my life. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's the craziest
That
thing.
is crazy. Like the timing of that.
Yeah.
Like he happened to be there.
Happened to be there.
Wow.
I
Shout out to
know.
Dr. Goldberg.
Shout out to Dr. Goldberg.
Yeah, man. Okay, yeah, that also is a really important thing. I really resonate. Thank you for sharing that because I've been talking a lot about women's health and how we're affected so greatly by our cycles. And we don't talk about it. And you have women entrepreneurs that are literally out here trying to compete with a man.
Yes. Oh my God.
And it's like, and it's not that we're not smart and amazing and great, because we are.
Right.
But we have this whole like thing that's happening where like birth and life and like death happens
Right.
every month, you know?
Right.
So it's like we have to handle that in a very different way. And are there things that you're doing now that you feel are important that we should maybe pay attention to? Like, because that's like, yeah, what would you say?
Well, I think seeing a doctor
course.
regularly, you know, I was early on in my career, you know, not having the proper health insurance, which is like an issue within our industry to begin with. Like,
absolutely.
So that's
Huge.
a whole nother, not having health insurance is huge. And having to pay out of pocket for these types of things. So you're like, I mean, I feel fine, so I won't go.
Right. I'm good.
Because every time you go, it's a bill at your door that you can't afford.
Right.
So
we got to democratize health insurance.
Absolutely.
It's not okay.
It's not okay.
Like people just walking around literally ill because you're trying to chase your dream.
Right.
It's like, come on, man.
But you know
Can
what?
I have health insurance and my dream?
Right. It really taught me to pay attention to my body and just like how I feel.
Right.
And not to brush off any feelings that I'm feeling, even though I'm like, maybe I'm going through something that's like high pressure. You account like, maybe my back is killing me because I'm like so stressed out. Maybe my shoulders are like this because I'm so, no, like maybe it's something else.
Right.
You know, like taking a moment to like just take it down a notch for your own health. Like it could be a life and death situation. Take a moment to like listen to yourself and also listen to other people, because sometimes there are people that are like, you don't look so good. And you're like, you have no idea how hard it is to be schlepping this bag through New York City. That's why I look like this.
Right. And they're like, no, girl, it's a little bit more than that. And they're like,
like your eyes are bloodshot.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, okay, that's probably a good idea.
Right.
Yeah. What do you do now to keep yourself balanced?
Because of the life that I've built for myself, I have more time on my hands. So I have actually more time to listen to my body.
I love that.
And can be like, I'm scheduling a massage for Friday, or tell my husband like tomorrow morning, like, can you wake up and handle Mila because I just don't have it. You know, just having the space to pause and just rest and listen to yourself.
Yeah.
It's really, truly like a gift for sure.
Okay, back to Amika. Okay, so you get into Amika. You're like, do you guys want me? And they're like, yeah, we want you. And you're like, I knew it. Okay, so you were there for 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And global, did you start as global ambassador, or did that grow and it grew into that?
So I started as education manager.
Okay.
And they told me, like one of my tasks for this year, like one of the goals for this year is to find someone who would be the artistic director, because we need an artistic director.
Okay.
And to me, that was like, ding, ding, like this is your chance to be the artistic director.
I see.
So I took that time, not to find the new artistic director for them, but to show them how I can be that. So anything that I had to do, I showed up 1,000 times more than what I was required to do. Just overextending myself in every capacity to show that I was the person for that job. So when a year came and it was time to negotiate like my current position, I said, actually, I want to be the artistic director. And there was no pushback. They immediately said yes, because I had the receipts to prove that I could do the job.
I love that you said that, because I think whenever you're working in a company, a lot of things that people push back on is they're like, well, that's not really my job,
Right.
And then and they don't realize, but that's like actually putting you in a position where you stay in that job.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, so
and also in a position to get promoted.
That's it.
When there is a new opening, they're like, oh, you know what? Delina was doing all of those things already, so she knows how to do that.
Exactly.
You have to show people what you know how to do. Like how they often say, like, dress for the job you want, act and perform for the job you want as well. I think that's important.
Okay, so give me an example of like when you say you went above and beyond, you were in this education director position, you wanted this artistic position. What were you doing to like stand out?
Any department, when I say department, it was like a small department, is like that one girl over there.
Okay. You're like her.
The department that needed help, I was like, what can I do in product development? Like, let me test all of these products. Let me give you like my true feedback. Let me like test it on my family and friends. let me just do anything that I can do to help push this brand forward. Mainly because I also believed in the brand. Like that's also something that's important to me. I have to, whatever brand I partner myself with, it has to be something that I actually believe in because I'm not a good actor and don't have a great poker face. So if I'm on stage, like, get this hairspray, like, you have to know, like, I really mean it from the bottom of my heart.
You're like, I actually
love this.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that was another factor in my success there because it had a lot to do with the fact that I was actually passionate about the brand. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That brings me to like Olaplex because like you're also a global ambassador there, right? Well, I mean, you left, but then now you're a global ambassador at Olaplex.
Yes,
like,
now I'm at Olaplex.
Right. So what is it that you feel that like that takes, you know, because it's a big title. Like this is not like tiny stuff. Like it's like you're like global. It really means global because they have a presence everywhere.
Yeah.
What is it that it takes to be that? Like, why do you think that they're like, Naima?
I think because I have my own voice and my own message and can bring something to the table that they don't already have at the table. I think that's what it takes to be a good global ambassador. Mm-hmm. You're bringing with you a community that's not already involved, or a community that's not already at the table. Mm-hmm. I think that's what makes me stand out as a global ambassador. My community. That's something that I have worked on since I started this career. It's something that's so important to me, building a community of assistants, hairstylists that I work with, makeup artists, models that I run into models that I worked with like 10 years ago and they're like, oh my God, it was so great working with you back then. That's how you build true community. And I think when it comes to brand building, people don't just buy a product, they buy the story, they buy the community that comes with it. It's a lifestyle. So I think that's what brands see when they have an interest in me.
Yeah, they're getting an access to everything that you stand for and your personal brand.
Right.
Especially now.
Yeah.
Especially in like 2025, 2024. It's like the way that social media is so interwoven into what we're doing.
Yes.
There's this expectation that you are exactly who you are on social media in real life. Mm-hmm. Especially for positions like a global ambassador.
Right.
The expectation is, okay, she seems friendly online. I'm expecting when I meet her in person that she's friendly also online. Right. She has friends that do this. I'm expecting her to actually have those real relationships.
Right.
You know?
And for a big brand like Olaplex, I think that it also took them watching me grow through the years and watching me do the things that I did throughout the years. It's not just who I was when I was hired for the role. It's who I've been in the past few years with other brands.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. I want to take you into 2020 for a second. And there was this moment where you published a guide. Mm-hmm. And the guide was how brands and industry decision makers can support Black hairstylists. Yeah. And it was a big moment in the industry. And I remember there being like a pin could drop. Like everyone was talking about it. Yeah. Everybody shared it. And then even people made derivatives of it. There was like a makeup artist guide. There was a, this is how you can support makeup artists. This is how you can support manicurists. Yeah. There was all of this talk. How did you feel in the moment before you published it? Because we know how it was received now. But before you published it, how did you feel?
Well, the gall and audacity to publish it came from watching Tamika Mallory on like a press. She was like doing like a press interview. And she was so passionate and straightforward and direct about what she thought the issues were in regards to the whole George Floyd situation. And to me, she showed such, bravery and just honesty. I was just like, I'm just talking about hair. Like, why do I feel like it's like something in my gut? Like, don't say it. Like, and she's out here talking about like life and death situations with such bravery. I can get on the internet and say what I have to say about the hair industry. And if it doesn't work in my favor, and that would mean that all brands decide to like pull away from me and I'm like blackballed from the industry, then it is what it is, because I don't want to work in an industry that's opposite of what it is that I'm trying to attain. So if we want to stay in that place, if that's what the industry decided, then I'm good on it. Like I can go be something else.
Yeah.
That's what it was to me.
That's big. And like that moment, thank you for your bravery, because I think it was really important. And you know, you're right. What Tamika is doing is it matters in a very big way. But what you did also matters a lot, because the livelihood, right? She's talking about us being alive as Black people, and you're talking about like us creating a livelihood as artists, right? And both are very important.
Yeah.
And so can you talk more about like what blackballed is? Because everybody always uses that phrase and like people don't really understand what that means. Like what does that mean as far as what you know?
What it would mean to me
Right.
in our industry would mean that brands don't want to work with you because they're scared of what you're going to say next. Production companies don't want to work with you because they're scared you're going to talk about, you know, bad experiences that you've had on their sets. That's what it would mean to me. And if that happens, then you're not getting booked and you're not making any money.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think thank you for the definition. And I'm sharing that also because I think it's important people understand like what it actually means versus like there's this idea of like there's like this like blacklist somewhere that like we don't know about.
Right.
But you're right, it is quite an individual experience.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you're feeling like something is going to affect your livelihood, which is very important. I mean, you have a family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
but you know, that's an important point where I felt that I was in a safer space in my career financially where I could take the hit and be okay.
Yeah.
Because these are not new thoughts. They weren't new feelings. It was just more like, okay, right now, if no one ever decided to book me to do hair again on a set, I would still be okay. That I had enough of a cushion to be okay. And I think, you know, that's important. That's something that maybe other stylists didn't have that wanted to say the same thing, that felt the same way that I felt, but didn't feel the stability enough to just go out there and say the thing.
Right.
You know?
Right. For people who did not read the guide, could you give me an understanding of what exactly was in there? What type of things were in there?
So we talked about not just hiring Black assistants to sit in a corner and do braids for you at Fashion Week, to hire them to do all the hair with everyone else. Also not co-opting Black hairstyles and naming them something else and going on to teach them. I mean, the things that I talked about are things that I experienced. Like I've been at a hair show and a hairstylist, fellow educator come up to me and say, I just saw you on stage. I'm going to copy everything you said. Just like that.
That's wild.
And can do it, and no one is going to, like, he knows no one's going to do anything about it. And you're not big enough. It boils down to you're not big enough for it to make a difference. If I steal everything you said, no one would even know that I'm literally word for wording everything you just said.
That's unbelievable.
And calling it something else.
I'm going to steal from you. I'm going to tell you that I stole from you. And I'm going to be like, okay, and?
Yeah.
That's wild. That's so, like, I don't even know how to say it, because it's worse than mean and rude. It's like, I don't know, it's like creative, like, yeah, it brings up this feeling of just being like, how could you?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's almost like, yeah, it's a violation. I think that's the best word to describe it, right? Like, it's a violation.
It's a violation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of like humanity.
Yeah.
And creativity.
Absolutely.
You know?
So when I wrote all of that, I wrote it all down. Like, what are my actual issues? And I think it also came up, the idea of writing it came up because I was seeing all these Black squares that brands were posting.
Oh, yeah.
And that was just upsetting me.
It was so empty.
It was so empty because I know who a lot of them were behind these Black squares. And I was like, no, you can't possibly be posting a Black square. You, of all people.
Yeah, not
That's
you.
how I felt. So it was my way of like, I have to hold all of you accountable. Like, if you really mean what you say, it has to be more than this Black square. Respond to all of these things that I'm saying. What's your response to that? So that's what I had to do. It was like in my gut, in my heart. And I reached out to another friend of mine, Itasha Jordan, who's a photographer.
Yes.
I sent it to Itasha and she was like, wow. And she's like, but I approve. And she like helped me like reword a few things. Maybe they were a little too hard hitting.
Too on the nose.
Right. Yeah. I maybe want to say this one this way.
Yeah.
So she was my chat GBT and that was great. And and then I posted it and went to sleep. And then when I woke up, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
So many views, likes, comments.
Shares.
Articles. The industry was like a buzz
Yeah.
about all of this. And the support behind it really just motivated me and pushed me to just stand 10 toes down behind what I said.
Yeah.
Because you could post something and like hide. But I posted it and I was like there to respond to anyone who had any responses about it.
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing everybody in the industry like, yes, this is how I feel too. And I've had XYZ experience. Everyone was just voicing their own experiences and standing behind me. So I didn't feel like I'm saying this like very controversial thing on my own. It's like I'm saying this with the entire Black hair industry behind me.
Yeah.
Not by myself. And also a lot of white allies for sure.
Yeah.
So
yeah, can you talk about that? Because I think that's something that we kind of miss is like allyship is just as important as the activism that's happening and the voices that are being magnified within the Black community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think that's where the change happens, right?
Yes.
I always say that when like we think, okay, I'm going to say something and it's going to be, it's going to hit home. But as a Black person, there are spaces we just don't have access to.
Right.
Like, and some of those are like the kitchen table.
Absolutely.
That people have. Like they're like the kitchen table of like a bunch of white people sitting around. Like we're not there.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And even if you are part of that family, sometimes the conversation won't even happen because you're there. But when you go to the grocery store, they're gonna talk about it.
Yes.
And I think true allies are the ones that actually speak up when there are no Black people in the room.
Right.
Right. And they're the ones who are like, listen. Like, hey guys, we got to do something about this.
Right.
So, okay, so it was received really well, which is fantastic, and I'm sure that was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, we lived to fight another day. Was your husband like, oh, good?
Yeah. And then all of a sudden he's like, yeah, so glad you said that. I'm like, yeah, right.
You're like, it's okay, babe.
Right.
It's all right. Okay, so. It was received well. There were a bunch of articles that were written. Was there a change that happened pretty immediate after that? Did you see any change that had happened?
I would say in terms of immediate, I was getting booked more.
Okay, that's great.
So it was opposite of what I thought would happen.
Right.
I think maybe brands and production companies that was their way of raising the hand to say, we're not like that. Mm-hmm. Or that's not our intention. Mm-hmm. So for me, that's the immediate change that I saw in my own life. Mm-hmm. And I also started to see more Black artistic directors and global ambassadors.
Yes, I saw that too. And that made me so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
and I was like, yes,
amazing.
This is what we need. We need more of that. Yeah. We need that representation at the table. Yeah. Because it's not about putting a Black model in your campaign, having someone with 4C hair in your campaign. Like, who is in these meetings? Who has equity in this? Like, true equity in this. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who are making the decisions that are going to impact other people, impact people that are in the community buying the products, people that impacting the people that are in the salons getting their hair done. Yeah. Those are trickle down. Like that happens from the top down. So when you see brands make big mistakes and huge missteps, it's because there was not a Black person with a voice at that table. There could be Black people, but are they allowed to make decisions, to speak? Does their voice hold weight in that meeting? That's what's important.
Absolutely. I want to talk about the change that you personally created because I think bringing something up as like, this is an issue that's happening in the community and then saying, okay, wait, now I'm going to champion this entire movement with texture on set. Yeah. And I think like, I mean, I have chills just talking about it. I think that it's such an incredible movement. Can you speak to like what your vision is behind it and like why you created it?
So first, I created Black Onset.
Okay.
So Black Onset came first.
Okay. And Black Onset is the mentorship program.
Mentorship program.
Okay, so let's talk. Yeah, you're right. Let's talk about Black Onset first.
Well, it was a master class that I wanted to create first.
Okay.
Just a master class teaching texture hairstyling. So as I was ideating this master class, I'm thinking like 30 people a master class. I want to like talk texture in beauty, texture at campaigns, texture in fashion. Like, what does that look like? Because I feel like there's a gap. But as I started to cater to the community that didn't have the education, I felt strongly that I was leaving back the community that did. And in my way of answering that to myself was to create this mentorship program called Black Onset.
Okay, so let me just explain this real quick. So you're saying that you're like, I want to make sure that everybody knows how to do textured hair. But then you were like, wait a minute, but I don't want Black people that already know how to do this to get left behind in that process.
Right.
So you were like, wait, let me do Black Onset first.
Right.
Make sure I have my Black people in position.
Exactly. Because not only we're not getting the jobs, right?
Oh,
so,
100%.
So,
yeah.
So why is it that we're not getting the jobs and I'm over here teaching you on this side how to do the job that I already know how to do? So now you know how to do my job and I'm over here still jobless.
Right.
So that didn't make sense to me. The math wasn't mathing on that. So I was like, I need to focus on the group that needs it most. And to me, I felt like it was Black women in the fashion industry, Black women hairstylists that were coming up, just like me, that needed the mentorship, because a lot of the talk about working New York Fashion Week, working on set, everyone always says you have to know someone who knows someone.
Totally.
Or you just have to be in the industry, or you just have to luck out. And I didn't want it to be that way. I wanted to be the person that I needed when I was coming up that said, hey, come under my wing. I'm going to teach you everything. I'm going to tell you the things that they're not telling you. I'm going to tell you what mistakes not to make. And when you do make a mistake, I'm going to tell you why it's not a good thing that you did. I'm going to help correct you and show you grace and let you fall and pick you up as long as you're willing to be on the ride. As long as you're interested in making it and moving forward and doing better and bettering yourself, I'm right there with you, lock and step. So created Black Onset. And it's been like a whirlwind. It's today it's not what I thought it was going to be. I thought I was creating a mentorship program like for like a day. Like a one-day mentorship where I tell all the girls all the things and all right, goodbye. Have a good life.
Good luck on your career. See you at the top.
And that's not what it was. I asked Crystal Wright, I was like, I need you to join me on the call because I also want to talk about finances and invoicing. And I was trying to fit everything into that call. And the more I laid out the agenda for the call, the more I was like, oh my God, there's like so many things to know in order to be successful in this industry. So we got on the call and it was a 6-hour call, Delina.
Yeah.
We were on this Zoom with these 20 women for 6 hours.
Amazing.
And it wasn't a 6-hour boring call. It was 6 hour, everyone's locked in.
Yeah.
Asking questions, going back and forth. Hold on, I'm going to take a 5-minute break for the bathroom, coming back. I'm going to take a 5-minute break, grab something to eat. We're coming back.
Yeah.
Everyone was like locked in.
And
I got off that call like so inspired by them, inspired by their like eagerness to, I just saw myself in all of them where they were like, just tell me everything. I just want to make it. And I was like, oh my God, they're like a bunch of little me's. I can't leave them with just this 6-hour call.
Yeah.
So I got off that call. I'm like, I have to do more. So I just created this chat, included all of them in the chat. And I was just like, hey, so if you guys have any more questions, just drop them into this chat. And that chat turned into the Black Onset Mentorship Program, where it was like, okay, so you guys, so let's say Nita has a photo shoot this Friday. What is she putting in her kit? And I was like, I want to know what she's putting in her kit. I'm like, okay, let's all get on the Zoom. Okay, Nita, what you need for this shoot, because this is so-and-so client, and this is what she likes, this is what we're putting in our kit, and this is what you don't do and what you do when you have a celebrity client.
I love that.
And then someone else is like, oh my God, someone like owes me $400 from a job that I did 5 months ago. What do I do? I'm like, all right, put that question in the chat so everyone can see. And she puts the question in the chat. I'm like, okay, this is how you handle that in a professional way. And then then the chats became like more personal, like, oh my God, so-and-so is having a baby. Or so-and-so, like even like bad things, like, oh my God, so-and-so is like not doing well. Or they're, someone passed in their family and they're like sending each other flowers and just being there for each other, spending time together outside of me. So a sisterhood was built on the back of Black on Set. And I'm just so proud of this group of women that I've pulled together. They're all so inspirational. They're all driven. They all want it really bad. And they're all really kind people.
Yeah.
That was important to me. Like, I want to be in community with people that are good people, kind people, and they're all like that. So it makes it easy for me to not let them go.
I love that. And there was like a process to get to the actual call.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so could you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I asked them to submit a video telling me why they should be accepted into this program for this call. And I screened all of these videos. They sent, of course, their work. I screened all the videos. What I was looking for was intentions. Also, people who had some kind of drive to do the things that they wanted to do. And also the talent. Because I can't teach talent. Either you have it or you don't. Right? That's not what this mentorship is about. It's about taking what you have and then blossoming with it. So everyone that I chose was like, okay, I know that they already have the bare minimum, which is the raw talent. And what can we add to that to help them like fly? So I ran through all of those videos. I think it was like a few hundred. And I landed down. Yeah, so many. And the reason why I did it that way is because so many people hit me up in DMs asking me questions about working in the industry.
Okay.
And I'm like, I can't have 50,000 DM conversations. I rather get on this one conversation, or get this group together.
Yep.
And discuss all of this, because it's not helpful to you if I tell you one thing here and then another thing 6 months from now. That's not really going to help propel your career in any meaningful, tangible way.
Totally.
So I wanted to target it more, to group all of these girls together to really, let's have a one-on-one today about the photo shoots that you're partaking in. Like, just things like that. Like, okay, you're doing these XYZ test shoots. Why do you think it's not successful? Why do you think these test shoots are not working out for you? And we'll walk through it and like, okay, before you pick a photographer for this test shoot, you have to decide, do you like his photography? Because you don't want to just shoot just to shoot, right? And I think I've done that when I first started.
Totally.
You just testing just to test.
You're like, oh, you a photographer? You got a camera?
Right.
Oh, let's run it. And then you're like, I can't even use this.
Right. And you have to like make sure you like everyone's work that's on the team, because the photography could be amazing, but the makeup is not amazing. And now you can't post it because the makeup is horrible, right? So it's really about like paying attention, being intentional about everything. Like, okay, yes, we're just starting out, but you could also not waste your time, right? Look at the photographer's work. Look at the makeup artist's work. Like, what are you bringing to the table as well? Just being intentional about everything. Because I think starting out, that's one of the things that I didn't do, because I was just like, let me just do all the things. And then looking back, I'm like, oh my God, I just wasted so much time for no reason. I wish someone told me like to look at these photographers' work. Someone told me that if one team member is off, that whole shoot can be off.
Totally.
Right?
It's so true. I have a lot of images like that.
Right.
Yeah, where you're just like, I was just so excited. I just wanted to do something. Because it's like, you're an artist. You want to paint. You want to create. You want to do. But it's like being able to put together photo shoots that actually are going to move your career forward is just as important.
And also make you feel alive, right?
And make you feel alive.
When you're on set and you're shooting, you're like, yes, like you already know the picture's going to be fire, right?
You're like, oh, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
Like that's what feels good. That's what like makes you want to do it more, because you're not getting paid for a test shoot.
Yeah.
So you have to enjoy it too. Like not only getting work out of it, but like enjoy it.
How do you know that you're like a community builder? Have you always been like that? Like, because for me, I think one of the main reasons why I wanted to talk to you is because I was like, wow, like she's so good at building community. And that's a gift.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? I know in college, I went to the University of Buffalo.
Okay.
And my friends and I, on our floor, we started a public service sorority called Alpha Beta Sigma.
Okay.
Together. And that was a lot of community building. We did the first sickle cell walk in New York.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ever. Ah.
There's a Alpha Beta Sigma Day in Buffalo, New York. Yeah.
Wow.
So we did a lot of community work. And when people are like, how did you, like, you're just such a quiet person, and always to yourself, like, where does that come from? It comes from those days, for sure.
Yeah.
Of community building, of seeing something bigger than yourself that you want to contribute to. That's what that organization did for me, that sisterhood.
Mm-hmm. Is it possible for someone to join Black Onset now, or is it closed?
That's the big question.
Right.
Right now, I'm not taking any applications, but I will open it again this year to include 5 more people.
Okay.
And people are always like asking me about joining Black Onset, but I'm so particular about who I let in, and just, I don't know, it's my baby. It's also girls that I've grown to love. Like, it's a family at this point. Like, for the past 2 years, we've been building together, growing together, making mistakes together. Like, we've watched each other slip and fall and get up many times. So you can't just let a stranger in,
Totally.
Just like that. It has to be someone that has similar intentions, someone who's kind, someone who's also community driven, and not just in it for a come up or for themselves. Because at this point, it's not just for advice. It's about community as well.
Yes. Okay, so stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. All right, that brings me to Texture Onset.
Yes.
So you've had 2 so far.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're both been held in New York City.
Yes.
Which is pretty exciting. New York is such a great hub for like creativity, and just like a perfect place to host a texture class, because I think also people on the East Coast really embrace texture a lot.
Right.
And they love, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's a very like cultural thing.
Yeah.
I just started wearing my hair natural again, but I feel like when I was on the East Coast, it was like very normal for me to wear my hair curly.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was it like building that? What was it like building Texture Onset? And how did that come out of Black Onset, or was it kind of, what was the pathway there?
Texture Onset. So I did I started to do the first one, started to plan it, and thought it was going to be like a 30-person class. And even for this 30-person class, I needed to reach out to sponsors to sponsor the venue that's going to host it, and the food, the chairs, the everything, the mirrors, the tables. I started to reach out to brands, and there was like a larger interest in what it is that I was creating. They saw something bigger than I actually was envisioning. They're like, wow, like this could be huge. And I'm like, oh yeah, it can be huge.
You're like, this is amazing.
Right. So it's not just a class. So the more people hopped on and said that they were standing behind it, the bigger it became. Where I was like, okay, I have L'Oreal with me. I have Olaplex. I have Ulta Beauty. I have Salon Centric. We can do something really amazing with this. So the first iteration of Black Onset was in Brooklyn, because that's home for me. Like, that's the most comfortable place for me. I know it. I know the community there, the hairstylists there. So we did it in Brooklyn. It was about 150 people. And I wanted to do something that just felt different than the other hair shows that I had been to. I wanted to go to a hair show that not only felt like a hair show, but just felt like a hangout for hairstylists. Some place where we can be in community with each other, and it's not just all about work. Because I feel like some of the bigger hair shows, which are great, of course, but a lot of it is focused on buying, and you're there to purchase, and you're not really there to kiki and have a good time and talk to so-and-so about like a networking thing. So it was really important for me to make it both. Like, we're here to learn, but we're also here to be in community with each other. So oftentimes, I don't know how about you for like makeup, but when I'm on set, I'm the only hairstylist aside from my assistants, right? So it's only us. Like, we don't get to be in community with other hair and makeup people like that, especially hair for me. Like, people are like, oh, you must have like a large community of hairstylists you hang out with, like a lot of hair friends. Most of them are online. All of my hair friends were online up until we started like Black Onset. And I'm like, oh, like, there's like a community of people, but we felt like we knew each other because we were always in each other's DMs, talking on Instagram. But we had to like just bring that to real life. Mm-hmm. So that's what Black Onset was, just an iteration of community and learning about texture and bringing that together, and also just making it something that's more like tangible for everyone. I didn't want everyone to feel like you need to learn about texture, and this is
yeah.
Like, I'm going to take you to school. And yes, we're learning here and we're moving the needle forward and expanding minds. I want you to also see things in a different way. I want you to learn the history of things, because hair is not just hair when we're talking Black hair. Mm-hmm. There's culture, there's history, there's nuance behind it that I think needed to be translated and taught, so that when you do put your hands in hair, you're doing it in the right way and with the right intention. So that's why we have the historical segment that Michaela Warriabi teaches.
I love that.
I love her.
I love her too.
I think it's so important to dive into all of the ways that texture shows up, because it's not just hands and hair. If it were just hands and hair, I would just do a hands-on class. But honestly, that's the last thing that happens before you truly understand what texture hair is. You have to understand the woman, the history, the mind, the nuances, all the things before you put your hands in hair. The reason why I say that is because I can have conversations with models all the time where they're like, I know before a hairstylist even touches my hair that it's going to go left. So that tells you that it's not about what's happening on the hair.
No.
It's how you're feeling. Is your confidence there to do the hair, right? Do you have the right products in front of her that lets her know that you are here to take care of her? There's so many things that happen before you even touch her. Mm. So we want to talk about all of those things, unpack all of those things. It's not a scary conversation. Mm-hmm. We're talking about hair. We're talking about your profession, right? And all the things you need to know how to do your profession at the highest level. That's what Texture Onset is about. And making sure that we take care of models with textured hair, that they feel seen, they feel heard, they feel like human beings. That's something that was so important to me.
I love that. It's such an elevated event. I mean, like, the first one you did was elevated, but I feel like that second one, I was like, the stage was white. It was like, the amount of people that you had come. Yeah. You had like the heavy hitters in our industry that do the who's who of, it was like, as a hairstylist, I would be like, I need to be at this event, like, no matter what. So who is Texture Onset for?
Texture Onset is for professional hairstylists and people in the pro hair industry. Because again, we're not just teaching hands in hair, right? So anyone in pro hair industry can come to Texture Onset and have something tangible to take away with them.
Okay,
sure.
Every background. They can be they don't have to be
like
Black.
They don't have to be Black.
Okay, yeah. So anyone. So anybody.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it's for everyone. And there's another thing I want to talk about where it's like, it's not just people who are non-Black that need to learn how to do Black hair or textured hair.
Yes.
Right? Because
I've been in a chair.
Logically, right. Listen, you go to beauty school, you don't learn how to do textured hair in beauty school.
Yes.
So let's say you're like an only child with no cousins, mm-hmm. the only textured hair you've touched is your own. and that's your experience because beauty school didn't teach you, of course you're not going to know as a Black woman how to do textured hair, right?
You know, also, I have a question for you because this has kind of been going around on the internet. Do you feel like the salon, like the way that the Black salon used to be, it's like everyone had a chair and everyone was in the same place. Do you feel like it's a disservice now that people are doing their own suites? Like they're doing like the suites versus I have my own chair, I have my own person here, and like I'm not learning from anybody else. Do you feel like it's hindering us?
For sure. It definitely is hindering.
Like as a community?
As hairstylists.
As hairstylists, okay. What about the customer? Do you feel like the customer's affected?
I've heard that the customer misses the kiki that happens in the salon, the community.
Yeah.
I get that, for sure.
Okay.
I went to get my nails done the other day, and my nail artist, her salon is feels like old Black hair salon.
Okay.
And I was like, I get it. I missed this. You're right. There's a whole vibe here. But there's the other end where hairstylists don't want to deal with all that comes with working for someone.
Yes.
So I get both sides. But yes, you are missing out on a lot of education by not being around other hairstylists. Because so many things that I learned because I was around other hairstylists. In the salon, for sure. Like when I used to work at Blow, when I worked at Paula Breck Salon on the Upper East Side, it's the person next to you that's doing the different thing. And you're like, wait, I don't apply color like that. And they're like, girl, to do it faster, this is what I do. And you just learn and pick up different things from different people that you won't experience when you're in a suite by yourself.
Yeah.
And if you don't care about that, I guess. But if you're trying to like be on top of your game, the best of the best,
right,
you need to put yourself around other people. And maybe that for you, that doesn't look like working around other people. Maybe that means you go to hair shows and go to events where you see other people working because you need to see the art happening, right? To train your eye. I always tell my mentees, you have to train your eye. You can't just be looking at your work.
Right.
You have to be looking at other people's work to see maybe what you don't want to do, what you do want to do, what is possible, what's not possible, what you would have done differently. You have to see it, whether it's in person or in magazines or on Instagram. You have to take in the artistry.
Yeah.
Like build a catalog of visuals in your head.
Okay, so one thing I want to close on is I want to ask you. The show's called "It Takes a Village." I like for people to highlight like a personal and a professional person that has impacted their life.
Yeah.
Can you share one of each, please?
I would say a personal person.
Yeah.
Well, let me start with professional first.
Okay, start with professional.
A professional person that has impacted my life would definitely be Crystal Wright. She was like the person that I needed to like grab me by the shoulders and be like, girl, get it together. The story that you're telling yourself is not what it is. And I wouldn't be where I am in my career without her guidance for sure. She is the one that encouraged me to reach out to the Wall Group when I was like reaching out to agencies like much lower caliber. And she's like, pause right there. Like, no, that's not what you need to do. This is who you need to reach out to. And I'm like, I emailed them once. They didn't email me back. She's like, we've talked about this. You're going to keep emailing them. Yeah. You know how she is, right? Yes. Like every month, let's go.
Yes.
And I'm like, ooh, cringe. Yeah. Okay.
I love that.
And I did it. And I remember we had a conversation and I was doing a hair show in London and she was in London at the time. Like we met up and had dinner and I was telling her about this like Wall Group, this like one email that I sent. And she's like, that's not it. Like this is what you need to do. And you're going to be at the Wall Group because that's where you need to be. They deserve you. You deserve them. It's going to be a great match. And I hear what she's saying, but I'm just like,
yeah.
I'm like, let me.
It's the Wall Group, right?
And I'm like, let me email info@thewallgroup.com. She's like, no, girl, like you need to go find like an actual person.
Yeah.
She's like, you need to stalk someone on LinkedIn and find someone to email.
I love that.
And I did. And they reached out. And the rest is history. So thank you, Crystal Wright.
Shout out to Crystal.
She's amazing.
She is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does that for so many people. even at the top of my career, she had called me. I did this workshop. I think it was like 2005 or something like that. Crystal Bright workshop. I went to the workshop. She told us all the things to do, not to do. And then a few days later, she called me and left me a voicemail. And I probably didn't listen to it for like 2 days. Yeah. Because I like hated voicemails. I'm like, oh, it's probably not that important. And I listened to it and she was like talking about a job. And I called her back and I was like, I heard your email. I heard your voicemail about this job. She's like, well, that's long gone. She's like, don't ever do that again. If someone reaches out to you, you need to respond within 24 hours or less. Less is best. And I was like, that was like a lesson learned so quickly where it was like, you're going to learn this lesson with this missed opportunity. So she was always there to give me the truth and not sugarcoat anything, even when I'm like, Crystal, these people. She's like, get out your feelings. Get out your feelings.
She's the
Put
best.
your strategy hat on. Like, what are we going to do?
Yeah. She's
How
my
are we going to
business
plan
mom.
this?
That's what I call her.
Business mom. I love that.
Business mom.
She's amazing.
Totally. And she's been on the podcast too.
I love that.
Yeah. Okay, professionally?
Personally?
Oh, personally.
Personally, it would definitely be my husband. He is a godsend. I truly feel that he was sent to me to be my person, to walk through life with me because he's such a perfect match for me. He is such like the biggest supporter, my biggest cheerleader. He is like a life coach. Every time I think, I can't do this anymore, anything feels hard, he's the one that's like, we're going to do this together. You're not alone. Let's go. And I tell you, I credit everything, like every major decision I've had to make in my career that was really tough. It's because he was there like, you can do this. You can do the thing. Like,
I love that.
Come on, let's go. You got this. So I'm just so grateful to have him in my life. He's just a wonderful man.
I love that. It's so beautiful. Thank you so much for being here. You're such a
Thank
pleasure to know.
you.
And like, I am so excited for you in everything that you're doing. You are a wonderful human being and you just like, you've got core values that I just really resonate with. So thank you.
Thank you, Delina. I'm just so happy to be here. Like I was telling you, I'm a fan of the podcast to begin with. So it's like a show that you watch, it's your favorite show, and they're like, hey, you're the next guest on the show. I'm like, what?
Hey! I love it.
So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening and for being a part of my village. Please leave us a review and I will see you in the next episode.